In England, we had the Land Rover as our 4x4 that went anywhere and is an icon from our country. America, well, they beat us to it and they had the Willys Jeep. Again, a 4x4 that was rugged and could go anywhere. In France, well, they had the 2CV, but that wasn't a 4x4 until they built a 4x4 2CV, and that's what this is. This is the Sahara, the most desirable, rarest unicorn in the 2CV world. Less than 30 horsepower and the price now of probably a supercar. And today I'm going to be going and driving one, which I never thought I would get the chance to do. I'm Jonny Smith, welcome to the Late Break Show. So Joel, I'm really pleased that you're letting me have a look around this, because this is like the holy grail of the 2CV.
Completely, yeah.
I mean, made from what, 1960, 61 to 67?
Yeah.
From memory, is that right?
Yeah, completely, yeah.
And you've been masterminding the restoration of this particular car?
Yeah, in fact, we've been lucky enough to find this car thanks to a special customer we have. It's a friend, in fact. And we completely rebuilt the car, but we've been lucky enough to have a complete car, because you can find some of them, but often they are missing key parts of this car, like carburetors, bonnet, because everything on this car is specific to this car. This is not a normal 2CV.
With another engine.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I was going to say, let's start at the top. So from what I could see, with a little bit of a research that I did hastily, because I wasn't expecting to get this opportunity. Obviously, the bonnet is not a ripple bonnet.
Yeah.
Because it's smooth with the recess for the spare wheel.
Exactly.
Because there's nowhere else to put it.
Yeah, because in the rear you do not have any place for the spare wheel.
Yeah. You say the wings are different.
Yeah, you have different parts inside to let it hard for more resistance, compared to the normal 2CV. So the wings are different.
Right. Okay. So is this
stronger?
This is a stronger car?
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Because this was Citroen's sort of idea of maybe like a Land Rover type of 4x4. And am I right in thinking that although we call it the Sahara, it was only called the Sahara at the beginning? Citroen then changed it to 2CV 4x4?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, the name came later about the Sahara, because his name has been built by his reputation of the car. In fact, because the car has been made for looking for petrol in desert. I don't know if you know this story.
Oil.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. So that's why we call this 2CV Sahara.
Okay, so it was for oil prospecting.
Yeah.
So this has tubular bumpers.
Yeah.
Which the normal car had pressed.
Exactly.
Metal. And there's right onto the chassis.
Yeah, exactly. The chassis is also completely different to the normal one, because you have a lot of parts inside to that help the chassis to be stronger compared to the normal one. So yes.
So reinforcement.
Yeah, exactly.
So it has a sump. It has a guard, like a armor here.
In French, we call that the ski.
The ski.
Yeah, the ski.
And
like the ski in the Alps, this is the same name.
So does it have a ski at the back as well?
Yeah, also.
Okay.
This part is present, in fact, to avoid the dust to go inside the engine, and the car could move easily in a huge condition.
Yeah, and these engines are 425cc?
425cc, yeah.
Okay, so the earliest cars were 375, is that right?
It's 375, 425, 435, and after the 602, but later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So two of them, same specification
Yeah,
engines?
same specification. Only the gearbox is different in the rear compared to the front because the engine doesn't work in the same direction, you know. So the
Yep.
gearbox is a little bit different, but nothing huge. Okay, the air filter is different too.
Yep.
Specific for this kind of car to move and to run in a huge and bad condition.
Yeah. Is
The-
this oil bath?
Yeah,
It's oil.
completely all bath. Yeah,
Like the
front
Beetle?
and rear. Yeah.
Right, okay.
The carburetor, this is a masterpiece of one of the masterpieces of this car because you have a huge tank on the carburetors
Yeah.
to avoid, I don't know how to say that in English, to avoid déjaugeage.
Starvation, fuel
Yeah,
starvation.
when you claim something very hard, you know.
Yeah.
So this carburetor has been built specifically for this kind of car.
Yeah.
And today it's almost impossible to find this kind of carburetor, sadly.
So that's one of the rarest parts of the Sahara.
Yeah, completely.
The chassis is very different, did you say?
Very different, yeah, very different. We specifically we built it with our special tools. I don't know if you see, if you saw them.
I did, in
Yeah.
your factory just over the way.
One of our best sellers, sorry, is a chassis plate for the normal 2CV, but for this kind of car, for we build this car, we need to rebuild it and to find special drawing for the chassis plate, and we completely rebuild it with a specific reinforcement and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, the chassis is very different compared to the normal one.
So Mahari Club Cassis, it's amazing. They bought all the original tools from Citroen. So they still make official Citroen chassis with the official tools shipped from, I guess, that went from Paris to Portugal to
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Because the last two CVs were Portuguese.
completely, yeah.
I have never driven a Sahara before and actually never thought I'd get a chance. So before I go out for a quick spin in it, Joel's going to show me the starting procedure, which I'm not familiar with. So, okay, what do we do? I know we've got two ignition keys.
Okay, in fact it's very easy. You have two keys for two engine, two ignition contact, for the rear one and for the front one engine.
Okay, so the front one's on the right with all the
Yeah.
key rings on. Right, okay.
Okay.
Yep.
You can start by depend what you want. You can start directly with the front or with the rear.
So the linkage, the throttle linkage is linked
Exactly,
permanently?
yeah. Both engines are synchronized by the same throttle pedal. Yeah.
Okay,
Completely.
right, cool. So,
Very cool.
yeah, so you've pulled that lever down or something on by the gear stick? Is that's been activated?
About the gearbox, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I have a little lever here close to the main one to the main gear lever of the gearbox to synchronize both gearbox.
And that's it?
That's it.
Okay,
Okay?
right. So let's start the back one first, shall we?
That's one guy.
It's just so random.
3, 2, 1, ignition.
That's that one. Yeah. Brilliant. Right, so that one's running. Can we
Yeah.
start the other one, please?
Of course. Both are running.
So they're both revving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stereo sound. Flat twos. Brilliant. So we're going to let them warm up a bit, and then we'll unleash all. I have to do my maths again. 850 horsepower. 850 cc. I keep saying horsepower. I'm living in dreamland. I've been told first gear is pretty much a crawler gear. I mean, the whole gearbox is extremely low ratio. Oh, I've just stalled the front engine, but the back one is okay. So random, having two engines to choose from. Right. And the clutch is really, really stiff. I have been warned about the clutch. Okay. Right, so, yeah, I've been warned that the clutch is really unforgiving and stiff, which it is. And obviously, it's extremely loud. There's no soundproofing at all. Low gearing because it's meant to climb those cliffs and not really drive on an open road. So the engine back there is screaming. I'm keeping an eye on the oil pressure lights down here. And you've got to commit with the throttle actually. It doesn't like to dilly-dally about. But I guess it's air-cooled, oil bath air filters because it's meant to be in unforgiving off-road environment. This was an all-terrain car and the whole idea of the twin engine was so they didn't have to develop another engine. They just tweaked the 425 flat twin, made it higher compression and stuff like that. I can't believe I'm driving this damn car. Metal steering wheel and look how close to the bloody windscreen it is. Keep trapping my hands on the dash top. The spare wheel that's just got a couple of belts to hold it on with. You know, this was for exploration. I've actually just lost my hat when we were doing some other shots of it. I put my head out and I've lost my late brake show cap. It's somewhere down here. So there is a trans tunnel. This is the only 2CV with a trans tunnel. And normally you've got a really nice, actually pretty smooth gear shift. This is not that. This is not that. But the same basic kind of like deck chair, seats, the rear which you can remove. This was first shown to the world at the Paris Motor Show in '58. Didn't go into production until '60. I think they made 3 different prototype versions, experimenting with different bonnets and slightly different layouts. They've all got hydraulic brakes, the Saharas. Yeah, it takes, if you've ever driven an old car with a twin choke carburettor and you've got that step feel in the throttle, that's what this feels like with this floor mounted throttle. But it feels like it is, honestly, it's stiff where the original 2CV is light, but you can feel it's really gripped to the ground. It ain't going anywhere. It's got that kind of military vehicle, slow but sure-footed feel. This is great. There's a hole in the door because there's a petrol tank under the seat, both seats. So twin tanks, one for the front, one for the rear.
Yeah.
And
in fact, you are sitting under a bomb.
you are sitting under a bomb of petrol. This is the only 2CV, am I right, that has floor shift gearbox?
Completely. Because this lever has been made for disengage the rear and the engine and the rear gearbox. If you want, and if you need to run only with the front engine, you can disengage the rear parts of the car.
And that's this?
Yes, that's this.
Okay, okay. So you can run it with one engine?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, okay. Does it behave any different? It's just, because they're what, 13 horsepower or?
Yeah, approximately.
13 and a half?
But in fact, sometimes it's better to run only, or you need to run only with the front engine, because you know, you could have some difficulties to run both at the same regime, same rotation. So yeah, you are always, as we say in French, an engine who win onto the other engine. You mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so sometimes it's better to run only one and the front engine. Yeah.
So, okay, so it's not a flat floor car anymore. You have petrol under your seats.
Yeah.
Obviously the same kind of seats, these simple kind of deck chairs. The iconic metal steering wheel.
Yeah.
But this is different and this is different. Can you talk to me about this?
Of course, yeah. So this is very impressive to find this kind of parts in this car, because this is to start both engine for the front rear and the rear engine.
So two ignition keys.
Yeah, ignition keys and a start button.
So good, it's got 2 ignition keys.
Yeah, that's amazing. You have the sensation to start an airplane, in fact. The APU, exactly.
Yeah. So is everything else standard in here? You still have the same back seats, same throttle pedal?
Yeah, so this is interesting to speak about the throttle. We are on the first generation of 2CV, so you have this kind of pedal who pass through the floor.
It's a floor hinge.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a Beetle.
Like exactly, completely. Yeah. But on this kind of car, and this is unique on the 2CV Sahara, you have an hydraulic clutch.
Okay.
It's an hydraulic version.
So we flipped it round now. This has a back window. I know the really early 2CVs, they didn't, did they? Or the top, the fabric top went all the way down.
Yeah.
But this is the thing we want to really focus on. That iconic cooling fan that you see through the front grille is reversed and set in this sort of recessed boot. And it has different rear light clusters.
Completely, yeah. This is completely different compared to the original one, yeah.
This reminds me of a Porsche 911 RSR, the original.
Oh, yeah,
the lightweight.
With the duck.
Yeah. It reminds me of the race versions of that. And the rear wings are different profile.
Completely, yeah.
And then, of course, you have the cooling.
With the cooling for the rear engine, you're right. The wings are cutting differently compared to the original one. Yeah, so the back of the car is a different look compared to the original one. I think, by my point of view, I prefer the looking of the rear of the car because it makes the car stronger. It makes the car
it's a
very
muscle.
different.
It's a muscle 2CV.
It's muscle 2CV, yeah.
It's an amazing idea. Let's have a look at this engine.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's such a fantastic idea. But like you were saying, I guess most people think they've just got another engine and put it in, and that's that.
Yeah, and in France, often we find and we meet people that do not believe you can find another engine of the 2CV in the rear. So it's always a surprise when you open the rear and wow, an engine in the rear. Look at that.
There we are, look. Yeah. It's almost a Porsche 911.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
Almost.
Just 2-cylinder.
Just 2-cylinder. So again, you've got all the cooling shroud, the fan, as you normally would. Access is interesting. I don't know if you can, I think that's a solid metal.
Yeah. The car is not completely finished. We need to recover this metal plate by a special material we do not find yet. But yeah, this is a metal plate who protects the back passenger to the rear engine.
So the air intake comes in here, oil bath, air through these
The joint is missing. Joint is missing between the air filter to the air intake. But yeah, the air is coming by this way.
Yeah. And then the thing that fascinates me is the linkage from that engine to your controls to here.
It is a pure beauty. The linkage is a pure beauty.
Is it?
It's to synchronize, in fact, the both gearbox and the both engine too. And yeah, when you unfit the car, when you rebuild the car, you find all the linkage. Like I said earlier, is like an airplane because you have a huge lever. You pass through the car. This is just unbelievable.
They announced this car to the press in March '58 in the Mer de Sable, an area akin to the Sahara Desert. What a very cool thing. What a very cool thing. All special parts have an AW part number? Is that true?
Yeah, completely.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's all I read last night.
We found them when we rebuilt and fit the car, all these specific markage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you to Mahari 2CV Club Cassis for letting me drive their example that's been restored extensively. And I must say thank you to the 2CV shop for introducing me to them and letting me have a go in this car. Anyway, I'm going to stop and concentrate. I'm coming up to a junction. Okay. Oh. So I let the clutch up and the back engine reacted later than the front engine. It's so strange. They're not quite in sync on the throttle. And I'm trying to be gentle with it, but the clutch and the gearbox are very, very stiff. This is one of the more random cars I've had the privilege of driving. And we're in rush hour. But you know what, torque-wise, it feels amazing, considering it's what, under 30 horse. So what Volkswagen at this time had one engine with 25, 30 horsepower, flat 4. This is a flat 4, theoretically. 6-volt electrics, of course. Right, so when it digs in from low down. The clutch is really sticky. There's nothing more French than this. A go anywhere hardcore 2CV driving past vineyards mountains. I'm lucky enough to have worked in this industry for over 25 years now, I think. I have driven an awful lot of cars, but stuff like this is extra special. As an old man with a stick who's just stopped and stared, he knows. It's probably one of the most collectible classic cars. And as soon as people see that spare wheel on the bonnet, they know. Those who know, know. Or more to the point, those who see what looks like an oven hanging out the back deck lid. Or a washing machine. It does look like a washing machine that's had a hole cut out in the boot. This is not the final word in refinement. But it's built for a specific purpose, and it's not really driving on the smooth tarmac, it's climbing those hills up there. Apparently these were able to climb a 40-degree angle or something lunatic. I can only imagine what that would have been like. But of course they're light. I'm sitting over 15 litres of petrol, and my passenger would as well if they were here with me. This is a real bucket list car, I have to say. A lot of 2CV enthusiasts won't ever get the chance to drive a car like this, so I feel extremely thankful. And it's all thanks to these guys here. All I got to do now is find reverse. So it's there, is it up there? Yeah, it might be up there. So listen, when I'm reversing, it's only reversing with the front engine. You can't drive it on the rear engine only, but you can drive it on the front engine only. So to give you an example, I'm going to kill the back engine, and that's the front engine. And now I'm going to kill the second engine. Man, what a contraption. What a fascinating automotive contraption. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Late Break Show. If you haven't already subscribed, I'd love you to subscribe. Maybe you want to become a Patreon. You can watch videos like this early, and you get blogs from me every week explaining what's coming up next and what I'm filming currently. Wow, what a moment.